I'm Sheena Ho, the founder and executive director for the Education Over Debt Foundation, where we provide scholarships to African American students attending a four-year college or university, historically Black college or university, and non-African American students of color attending a two-year or four-year college and university. We deliver value to the community by emphasizing training on money management and wealth accumulation techniques and wellness to enhance financial literacy. Today, I will cover the College and Beyond workshop. In the workshop, we will discuss money management and the financial aid packet. At the end of the workshop, there will be a 10-question quiz for you to complete before you begin the scholarship application. If you feel like you can complete the quiz without looking at the video, by all means do so. However, we are looking for the best candidates for our scholarships. Good luck. Welcome to the Education Over Debt Foundation College and Beyond workshop. Today we are going to discuss money management and college financial aid. What do you want to do when you grow up? I'm sure you've been asked this question before, and whether you know the answer or not, keep in mind that your career and the amount of money that you make helps to determine your lifestyle. So if you're one of those people who say, I want to be rich when I get older, please know that wealth is not how much you earn, but is how much you keep. In order to become wealthy, you must set financial goals. Know your why. Why do you want to work in this career? How much money do you want to make and why? Set a goal, and not just any goal, but a SMART goal. A goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. SMART goals help you to create your plan. For example, I want to save $1,000 by December for my birthday. To do that, I will save $100 each month from my part-time job where I make $500 monthly. This is a SMART goal that has helped me to create a plan. Now, as you transition from a student to a working adult, there are some things you should be aware of. Gross pay versus net pay. Gross pay is typically the amount quoted to you for your annual salary. Net pay is when deductions are taken out of your salary, typically for taxes, health insurance, or retirement. Payment cycle. The payment cycle is how often you get paid. It could be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Paid time off is how many days you can take from work and still be paid. Companies typically give you this information before you start working with them. Let's take a look at a simple paycheck. The gross pay for this period is $1,200. However, the net pay is only $660.92. Why the difference? The difference is due to the deductions taken out of the gross pay, including taxes, federal, state, and FICA taxes, which are the Social Security and Medicare here, health insurance, and retirement. These are the deductions that typically impact your net pay. Now that we have a clear picture of net pay, let's talk about managing the money you bring home. We're going to discuss savings and investing, housing and utilities, credit and debt. What's on your phone? Today, we can easily manage our money with apps on our phone. You can have your bank app for your checking account or savings account, an investment app for non-retirement and retirement accounts, and even a budgeting app to categorize your spending. No longer do you need pen and paper to identify where your money is going. So let's get into it. Savings versus investing. To save means to set aside money that is easy to retrieve. The time frame is short and the focus is capital preservation. You want to ensure that what you put in the account, the savings account that is still in the account when you need it. A rule of thumb for your savings is to cover 6 to 9 months of your living expenses or monthly income. Typically, online savings accounts have higher interest rates compared to traditional banks, and they may be helpful if you tend to easily spend your savings if you see money sitting in your account. With an online savings account, it may take about 2 to 3 days to move your savings into your checking account if it is not with the same bank. In essence, this can help you create a boundary for yourself and identify if you're using the money for a need or a want before you spend it. To invest means to grow your money to a larger amount and involves risk. Depending on the time frame for when you need the money and the purpose for what you want to use the money for can help determine your risk tolerance. Investing can be broken into an intermediate time frame or a long-term time frame. An intermediate time frame is greater than 1 year but less than 20 years. The focus is capital appreciation. People tend to set aside money for major expenses in this time frame. For example, your roof repair, your furniture repair, or even to save for your child's college expenses. A long-term time frame is typically greater than 20 years with a focus on capital appreciation. With a long-term time frame, people tend to invest for their retirement income. Retirement is the day a company stops paying you and you begin to pay yourself with the investments you've accumulated while working. An easy way to begin saving or investing is to set up systematic or regular contributions to pay yourself. So just like you set up auto pay to pay a bill, you can set that up to pay yourself. Now, let's take a look at a chart to show the difference between how savings and investing can add up for you. On the left, you can see the average annual percentage yield for savings is 0.6%. If you start with $100, in 10 years, it will be $106.16. On the right, the average S&P 500 return has been 11.2%. If you start off with $100, in 10 years, you will have $335.38. Keep in mind, this is the average. That means that some years may have a higher than 11% return, and some years may have a lower than 11% return. There is risk involved with investing. Working with a financial advisor can help you to determine the best strategy for your goals. Saving and investing should be a priority when managing your money. Now, let's look at how the rest of your money is spent. Creating a spending plan helps to easily identify where your money is going. In most cases, housing expenses make up the largest expense. This includes your rent and mortgage payments, and it's typically around 30%. Food and groceries are next, whether you eat out at fine dining, fast food, or even a home-cooked meal. Food and groceries tend to be approximately 20% of your spending. Utilities and giving tend to be lower at around 10%, and savings and investing and debt can be around 15%. So what happens if you don't have enough money to pay for something? In the United States, building a credit history is often a way for people to have financial flexibility for emergency situations or large purchases. What is credit? Credit is the ability to purchase goods or services before paying for them, with the expectation that payment will be made later. It is designed as a way for people to see how well you keep your word. It determines your credit worthiness. When you purchase items on credit, interest is charged when you don't make payments on time. The annual percentage rate is the yearly interest rate plus any fees associated with a loan or credit card. How it works is you will apply for the credit card. Let's say the limit is $1,000. You can then purchase items with the credit card up to $1,000. Let's say you get some books for $300. At the end of the month, you will receive a bill or monthly statement identifying your balance, minimum payment amount, and due date. It is your responsibility to pay on it each month. A rule of thumb is to always pay more than a minimum payment. Credit score. Your credit score would be composed of the following: payment history, which is about 35%. It shows if you paid on time or if you were late. Amounts owed shows the total debt that you owe and your utilization rate on your credit card, which means based on your credit card limit, how close are you to using all of the credit available to you? A rule of thumb is not to use more than 30% of your credit limit. Length of credit history is how long you've had credit. New credit shows new items that you are applying for with credit. Credit mix shows the different types of credit that you have, including credit cards, which are considered revolving, loans, which shows your installment payments, and open credit, which shows accounts that must be paid in full each month. There are several ways that you can build your credit, including becoming an authorized user. That means if you have a family member or friend with a positive payment history, you can ask them if you could be added to their account. This allows you to benefit from their good credit practices without being responsible for payments. Secured credit cards. It allows you to deposit a certain amount of money for your credit limit. You can make purchases and then pay it off. You can set up automatic payments to make payments on time to improve your credit score. You can also request a credit card limit increase if your utilization rate is high at your current limit. Now that we talked about credit, let's talk about debt and how to leverage it. Debt is how much you owe someone. To leverage debt simply means to buy an item with a loan and determine if the item will appreciate over time or if you can make an income from it. For example, let's say you take out a loan or mortgage to buy a house today for $100,000. Due to regentrification in your neighborhood, in 5 years, the house is now worth $250,000. Since the value of the home has appreciated, when you sell the home, you will make at least $150,000 in profit. The item that you purchased with the loan has appreciated in value. In another example, let's say you take out a loan to buy a car. You use your car to drive Uber and make $300 a week. The item that you purchased with the loan is providing you an income. So when we think of leveraging debt, the question we are asking is, what is my return on investment? What's in it for me? And whenever you take out debt, you always want to make sure you know the details. Who do I owe? How much do I owe? What is the minimum payment? What is the interest rate? What is the lender's contact information? And when do I plan to pay it off? These questions are critical to managing your debt responsibly. To wrap up with money management basics, set financial goals, know your why, and create a plan. Keep your expenses low. Be mindful of your rent amount, credit cards, and subscriptions. Save and invest early. Set up automatic contributions or spare change accounts. Leverage debt. Focus on capital appreciation or the income earned from the items purchased with the debt. To create the lifestyle you want, be intentional about your money management. Now that we've talked about what you want to do when you grow up and how to manage your money to create the lifestyle you desire, let's discuss steps to get there by attending college and understanding financial aid. To start your college journey, you must first apply to college. Then complete the free application for federal student aid known as FAFSA. Some states and schools use information from FAFSA to determine your eligibility for their grants, scholarships, and loans. We will discuss the federal Pell Grant, state and institutional grants, and loans. The maximum Pell Grant amount for July 2024 through June 2025 is $7,395. It is awarded up to 6 years, and if you don't qualify for the maximum amount, you may be eligible to receive a percentage or portion of the amount. Please note that grants are not required to be repaid by the student. State and institutional grants typically includes the FSEOG grant, campus-based aid, for example, an NCCU grant or Eagle grant. And if you are looking to be a teacher, they also have a grant called the Teach Grant, which is available to students. The FSEOG grant typically ranges from $100 to $4,000. On average, state and institutional grants may range from $2,000 to $3,000 for student aid. Next, we will discuss the student loans offered: subsidized, unsubsidized, Parent Plus loan, and private loans. The most common loans for students are subsidized and unsubsidized. Direct subsidized loans are capped at a certain amount each year, and they are available to undergraduate students who demonstrate financial need. The U.S. Department of Education pays interest on subsidized loans while the student is in school at least half time and up to 6 months after you graduate or leave school. Direct unsubsidized loans are available to undergraduate and graduate students. There is no requirement to demonstrate financial need, and students are responsible for paying interest. If you choose not to pay the interest while in college, the interest will accumulate and be added to the principal amount of your loan. The current interest rate for direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans is 6.53%. This is the rate for July 2024 through July 2025. So what's the difference? The main difference between the two loans is that the subsidized loan requires you to demonstrate financial need, is capped at a certain amount each year, and it doesn't accrue interest while you're in college. The unsubsidized loan, on the other hand, does not require you to demonstrate financial need, it's unlimited, and interest begins to accrue immediately. So what does that mean? That means that if you take out $1,000 with an interest rate of 6.53%, at the end of the first year, you will owe $1,065.30. At the end of the second year, you will owe $1,134.86, and so on and so forth. The interest will continue to accrue while you're in college if you do not pay on it. This is the loan that gets most people into trouble, because when you go to college, they give you your financial aid to cover the whole year, but you pay per semester. After you pay the first semester, some schools may give you a check for the remainder of the balance. Today, some schools also would just put that on your school balance, but not all schools do that. And of course, as a young person, you may have never had that much money before, so it's easy to want to spend it. I've seen friends, students spend their refund checks on things like to get their car fixed, to travel, to stay in luxury apartments, or even to get a phone, not realizing that they would need the money to pay the balance the next semester. Here's my word of advice to you. Do not spend the refund check. Again, do not spend the refund check. Put it in an online savings account to have for payment for your next semester. Remember, if you don't have the money to pay your tuition, this can lead you down a path of getting into more student loan debt because now you need to take out additional loans to pay the tuition to stay in school. The average cost of college in North Carolina is around $17,600. Considering the average amount of grants students receive of $8,500, this will leave them with a deficit of about $9,000. If you are not proactive in planning for college, it may feel easy to take out student loans. I've heard students say things like they don't want to apply for scholarships because they don't want to write an essay. I will encourage you. It is easier to write an essay for a scholarship than to write a check for a loan to pay back. Now, let's talk through some strategies to minimize student loan debt. Attend a community college. Most community college credits are easy to transfer to a 4-year college or university, and you will begin college as a junior. Take dual college credits. This allows high school students to take college-level courses while still in high school. This can help reduce the time and cost of earning a degree. Attend an NC Promise school. These colleges reduce tuition costs for in-state undergraduate students to $500 per semester. The schools included are University of North Carolina Pembroke, Fayetteville State University, Elizabeth City State University, and Western Carolina University. Tuition payment plans. This allows for you to pay for tuition and fees in installments over time rather than a lump sum at the beginning of the semester. When I was in college, I paid for 2 classes on a tuition payment plan. Other options to minimize your student loan debt is to work part-time, apply for scholarships, and last but not least, do not spend the refund check. Again, do not spend the refund check. Now let's take a look at a simple financial aid letter. Freshman student receives an award letter to ABC University. ABC University requires that the freshmen stay on campus their first year. The student is an undecided major. The estimated cost of attendance is $55,000. Tuition and fees is $39,000, room and board $13,000, books and supplies $2,000, and personal miscellaneous for $1,000. Which items from the estimated cost of attendance do you think are less important when considering the cost of attendance? Books and supplies and personal miscellaneous. This is considered least important because it's a variable. There are several ways that you could get books when you're on campus and supplies. You can rent books, you can buy them from a friend, or you could buy them from a store. Personal miscellaneous depends on your situation. Yours may be more or less depending on if you're an in-state student or out-of-state student, or how far away your family stays from the campus. Which items on the award letter would you accept? On the left-hand side for the award letter, you'll notice the description of the items. To the far left, the award amount for the fall and spring semester, as well as the accepted yes or no. When you get an award letter from college, you have the ability to say, I will accept this or I will not accept this. So that is up to you to decide what you will accept and what you will not accept. So make sure you read over the information carefully. Of course, we're going to accept all of the scholarships and Pell Grants that are available because we know that you do not have to pay back a scholarship or a Pell Grant. So we're going to accept the President Scholarship, the Federal Pell Grant, the FSCOG Grant, and the EOD Scholarship. Now, the items that we may be a little uncertain about may be the Federal Perkins Loan, so I will say maybe. The Federal Subsidized Loan, maybe. And then the Stafford Unsubsidized, I'm going to say no. As you can see here, the Federal Perkins Loan was $2,500 in total. The Federal Subsidized Loan was $3,500 in total, but the unsubsidized loan was $10,000. So because the student is an undecided major, do we really need to take out these loans? Let's dive a little bit deeper. Not including loans, how much money does the student need to pay for his attendance at ABC University? $52,000 minus $29,000 would equal $23,000. The $52,000 comes from tuition and fees of $39,000 and room and board of $13,000. The $29,000 comes from the scholarships and the FSCOG grants that the student receives. So he has $20,000 from the President's Scholarship, $5,000 for the Pell Grant, $2,000 from the FSCOG grant, and $2,000 from the EOD Scholarship. So that's $29,000. So we take the tuition and fees, the room and board, deduct the scholarships that he has that he will not have to pay back. He will be left with a deficit of $23,000 that he must cover. Considering that he is an undecided major, what do you recommend for the student to attend this college? Well, let's take another look at this award letter. He does have loans that they are offering him. The loans total about $16,000, as we have $2,500 for the Perkins loan, $3,500 for the subsidized loan, and $10,000 for the Stafford loan. So that totals $16,000. He will still have a deficit if he goes to this school, considering that his deficit is $23,000, and even with the loans, he will still need to get more money to attend this school. Considering the student is an undecided major, I would recommend that he does not take out the loans. So would I recommend for the student to attend this college? The answer would be no. Rationale, he's an undecided major. We do not know what his income potential is going to be, and he does not have enough to cover the balance. Even with the loans that the school offers him, he still has a deficit. So I'm going to say no, I do not recommend for this student to attend college. Now, we talked about financial aid and reviewed a simple financial aid award letter. Let's talk through things to consider if you do have to take out loans. Again, the purpose of this workshop is to help high school students make better informed decisions. I know that sometimes things don't always go as planned. So if you have to take out a loan, what things should you consider? 3 things I want to highlight. The first thing I want you to consider is your income potential. How much money or income will you make in this career? When you think about that question, always think of the entry-level salary, not the manager level salary, because you never know how long you will actually work in the industry. or if you want to become a manager. Next, understand the economy. What's going on in the world? This may be something that you want to talk to your parents about. I personally don't look at the news very often, but when I got my MBA in 08-09, the market tanked and I couldn't get a job in finance for 2 years. Meanwhile, my mom was asking me, how are things at your job? Are they laying people off? I wasn't paying attention to any of those things, and I eventually got laid off. The good thing was I only took out $17,000 for grad school, and I was able to pay it back in a fraction of the time. Which leads me to the last thing, time horizon. You want to consider the time horizon to pay off the loan. How long will it take you to pay back these student loans? Remember what we discussed about leveraging debt. If college is a true investment in yourself, your skill set, your growth and development, you should see a return on your investment sooner rather than later. I would say a good rule of thumb is to pay off your student loans in 5 to 7 years. In conclusion, one of my favorite quotes, your 20s are for working hard, your 30s are for working smart, your 40s are for working how you want, your 50s are for working when you want, and your 60s are for working if you want. Thank you for attending the Education Over Debt College and Beyond workshop. You can scan the QR code here on the screen so that you can begin the questionnaire. It will also be available on the scholarship application. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, Sheena Hogue, at info@educationoverdebt.com.